Today, we're going to be talking about a couple very random yet extremely useful things that we can do in, with, and around SvelteKit. And those are going to be animations, view transitions, a UI library, which I actually really like, apology video incoming, don't worry, and of course, the brand new runtime, which everyone is talking about, Bun. We're going to be talking about how to use SvelteKit with Bun in development, and also how to take it to production using the Bun runtime, using Docker, thanks to today's video sponsor, Koyeb. We'll have a lot more information about that later on. So as is effectively tradition at this point, I went ahead and built out a nice little demo app to illustrate the things I want to talk about in this video. Now, this little demo app looks a lot better than the ones that I usually write, and the reason for that is because I actually leveraged the skeleton UI library for this one. I've never used this before this, but it's really, really cool and it worked really well. It feels like a nice light abstraction on top of Tailwind, very similar to the way Drizzle feels like a nice light abstraction on top of SQL. I'm a huge fan of it. It felt really good. It allowed me to do some cool stuff, like when we go over to this page, I can switch my theme to skeleton and it's going to change all my variables and everything in here. And the way this is working under the hood is it's just setting a bunch of CSS variables to whatever we set our theme. So crimson changes all the colors, gold changes all the colors. I like wintry the best, so I'll leave it here. And then we can even easily set light and dark mode using this. Get ready for a flashbang in 3, 2, 1. Completely lights up the screen, but if we go back to normal, it's a really nice way of doing this. The video is not focused on skeleton, but I highly recommend you check out the code base and see how I did this. It's pretty sick, and take this from a guy who sucks at making UIs not look awful. I think this looks pretty good, and I wrote it, so definitely take a look at that. But regardless, the first thing I want to talk about is going to be view transitions. So if you haven't been on Twitter, you probably haven't seen these, but this is the cool thing that Astro was talking about recently, and a bunch of other frameworks have been talking about, and it's basically this new API, which allows us to do some really cool stuff on page transition. So let me show you what this actually looks like. When I hit view transitions, it's going to do this really cool and clean thing where like the box navigates to like open. So it looks like we're just opening up the box on the home page when really we're going to a different page. So you can see up here in the URL, we're on the view page. We go back, we're on the transitions page. But this doesn't work on all of them because I only attach the view transition to just that one. So we go to the animations page, it's not going to do that. There's nothing expanding here because there's nothing attached to it. Same thing with Bun, that's also bringing up this window, but it doesn't do that clean little transition. It just fades in and out, versus this will do that nice little expansion. So the way this works in code is honestly really simple. I highly recommend if you want to implement this yourself, you go and check out the actual blog from Svelte themselves, going over how all this stuff works. I'll give you the cliff notes of it, which is basically just whenever we navigate our page, this on navigate function, whenever we do a navigation, we want to start a view transition if we can. Not all browsers are going to support this, so we have to check to make sure it's there. And we also need to go into our app.d.ts and add view transition to our document interface because not every single browser has it. If they're on Internet Explorer 2016, which a shocking number of people are, it's not going to work. But for all the modern browsers, it will work, so we just have to make sure we start it, and then what this will allow us to do is with our CSS, we can set up view transitions here. So I'm just creating a view transition with the name of view content, and I'm attaching that to view link. Then if you look at the code base over here, if we search up view link, this is going to show up in 3 places, obviously where we define it. Then it's going to show up within our home link. So within our home link, this is the component that shows up on the home page here. These 3 guys, these are home links, but I'm only going to attach this to the view one. So I'm making sure, okay, if the link path is view, that's kind of a weird way to do it, but it works. So we just set, okay, if it's the view link, then we want to add the class of view link. And then if we go to our page.svelte, that big card that we show up within our view page also has the class of view link. So it basically just knows, okay, transition between those 2 elements. And it just does this. That's it. It's really, really sick. You can get way fancier with this, and in the demo, they go over some really cool things you can do, but it'll basically just animate between the 2, which is awesome. So view transitions are sick. And the next thing I want to talk about is going to be animations. Animations are in a similar vein, but they're a really great way to just sort of make your UI pop a little bit more and make things feel a lot better. You don't realize how nice they are until you have them. Within this page, I just went ahead and made a to-do app. I know it's wildly unoriginal, and I've done way too many of these. And the point is not the to-do app, but the point is the animation. So I just went in here and I said, hello world. We go in here, we hit add to do, it's going to animate up. So instead of just popping in out of nowhere, it'll sort of fly up. So we can keep adding these and they'll fly up. It gives it this nice little fly-in feel that really sort of elevates the way the app actually feels. And you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can do fly animations, but you can also do fade animations. So when I hit remove, it'll fade out, or hit do something, fades out. It's a really nice way to do it. This is not the most polished or perfect example of what animations can be, and there are better examples of this out there, but it really makes your UI sort of feel cleaner. And the code to implement this is brain dead simple. So we just go to our animations page. I have a client side to do app, very basic stuff. But the point is, in here, all I'm saying is I'm just defining an in and an out property on this div. So I'm saying that on the in, whenever this div comes in, we want to animate the Y by 100, and then we want to set it to be a duration of 500 milliseconds. I could change this to be 5,000 milliseconds, and then it's going to take a lot longer. So we spam some stuff in here, hit add to do. It's going to slowly animate over 5 seconds. So it's the super simple way to just add these clean little animations to your app. If we wanted to set the X to come in on a different direction, we could do X maybe 1000 here, change this up a little bit, and this will look very different here. But if we do this now, see how it's going to like fly in diagonally like that? You can easily set all of these and tailor them to your UI to make something really sick. And of course, I have linked the documentation to Svelte Animate on that page. Great resource, highly recommend checking it out. And finally, I want to talk about Bun. I'm sure you have all heard of Bun by this point, and this project is using Bun. We have deployed it using Bun, and we are going to be developing using Bun. And it's a great experience that is shockingly simple to actually implement. So if you go and you look at my project structure here, to actually get this working with Bun, there were virtually no changes I had to make outside of a couple little things. So the first thing I had to do is when we created this project, I had to delete the package lock.json or pnpm lock or yarn lock or whatever you have. You want to delete that, delete your node modules, delete SvelteKit, and just run bun install. When you run bun install, you'll get this bun.lockb file, and then it's set up to work with Bun. So all you have to do there is you just do bun install, and then it'll just magically work. You do bun run dev, and it'll spin up your Vite dev server right here, exactly as you would expect, and here we are working in Bun. It's literally that simple to get it up and running in development, but that leads to the natural question, well, how do we use this in production? Bun is brand new, so it can be difficult to get it out and deployed and figure out how all that works, and that's where today's sponsor comes in. So today's video is sponsored by Koyab. They're a deployment platform that I have been using extensively with InsiderViz for quite a while now. All of our background workers are on here, and in the future, all of our front-end code will be as well. The reason why I took the sponsorship and I wanted to work with them is because I actually use them. Their infra is great, their focus on global deployment is awesome, we have a heavy international user base, and their micro VMs on an edge network are just fantastic. And on top of all of that, they have really great support for Docker files and a great CI/CD pipeline. So let me show you how all that's going to work in production. So in order to deploy our SvelteKit app using Bun, we need to containerize it. And we're going to be using Docker to do so. This Docker file will go ahead and package up our app and allow us to put it onto these lightweight edge VMs that Koyab provides. So you'll notice here that we're using from Node 18. This is actually not a perfect Docker file. This can definitely be improved. The ideal would be to use the official Bun Docker file, but currently we're having issues with post CSS and some weird stuff in Tailwind that is resulting in us not being able to correctly build the Docker file using the Bun image. So we have to use a node image, which will then install Bun and then use Bun and run it from there. So this will be improved in the future. Make sure to check the pinned comments in the repo down below if you want to get an updated Docker file and way to do this. But for now, this will work just fine. So all we have to do here, we set up this Docker file, and we need to do one more thing before we deploy. We need to make sure that our SvelteKit app is set up and ready to run in a Bun environment. So within our svelte.config.js, we need to make sure that our adapter is going to be the Bun adapter. So you would just do bun add svelte adapter bun. This project already has that installed and added. And then we'll just make sure that our adapter is going to be the correct one. And with all that set up, we can go ahead and deploy our app. So I already have this deployed, but I'm going to go ahead and deploy it again so you guys can see how freaking easy this is and how great it performs. So we're going to go ahead here. I'm going to log in. As I've done before, I have this is my current deployment right here. You can see it's up and running, super fast, super clean, very easy way to get our SvelteKit apps in production with Bun. But if I go back here, we can go ahead and create a new app. So I'm going to create an app. I'm going to go ahead and deploy from GitHub. Then I'm going to say, okay, we want to do cool SvelteKit stuff. We are going to say this is going to be live video demo. Super simple. Instead of using a build pack, which there are tons of options here, we could use Node or anything like that. We're actually going to just use a Docker file because this allows us a lot more customizability. We're going to set the Docker file. We're going to have it be a web service because Koyeb is great. They'll allow us to set up background workers, which is what we're leveraging right now. Great use case for Golang, and also allow us to set up web services. So the web service is what this will be. That basically just means we're going to expose a public port and allow users to make HTTP requests to our service. And then finally, I'm going to go down here and set up my region. Like I said earlier, Koyeb is super focused on global deployment and to a global edge network. Right now, they have Washington and France publicly available. Two things have actually changed since I recorded this video. First, there are now 6 regions available instead of the 2 at the time of recording, so make sure to check those out. And 2, Koyeb and I actually set up a code for you guys to enter into the type form below. You enter that in with the email that you used to sign up for Koyeb, and you'll get $20 in credit completely free just for watching this video and checking out the platform. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that. That is months of free servers, and it's a great platform. Definitely check it out. Now back to the video. They have tons more regions coming. This is super valuable for us, and I think it will be for you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and here, and since I'm in Columbus, Ohio, Washington, D.C. makes the most sense, then we can set up our instance size. I'm just going to do a micro VM for right now. And then finally, within our advanced section, we can set our environment variables. Again, this is not the best Docker file in the world. If you notice right here, we're setting the port of the environment variable here and exposing it. You definitely want to just not have this, and you just want to use the port that your provider gives you. But what's super nice about this is Koyeb allows you to pick the port. So I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to pick 8080 as my port. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete this environment variable because it's being set in my Docker file. Again, you could just leave that environment variable and then set this to whatever you set that environment variable to be. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure that the port that your Docker file is being exposed on matches the port that you expose here for your service. So we go ahead and we do that. Everything's set up here. I'll just leave it to their default name, and we'll hit deploy. So this will take a second. It'll go through, it'll provision everything, run it, and then we can take a look at the app. All right, and just like that, our app is now deployed. We'll get this message that our instance is healthy, and we can go ahead to our URL, open this in a new tab, and just like that, the demo app is up and live. If you guys want to try that, you can go ahead and use the source code in this video, give it a shot deploying here, and I highly recommend giving it a shot. I want to reiterate one last time that the whole reason I took this sponsorship and I wanted to work with Koyeb is because I already use them in production on my own apps, and I will continue to do so in the future. It's fast, it's easy, and it has excellent global support. So I highly recommend you guys give them a shot. This feels a lot like a sort of railway type thing, but it's more globally minded, which I think is awesome. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. That was a couple quick random things in SvelteKit, but I think these are very useful random things. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that stuff, join the Discord. We've got a link down below, and I will hopefully see you very soon.